Let's go ahead and gently step the left foot forward. Help it along if you need to. Take the right knee down. Hey everyone, welcome to class and welcome to this special edition prenatal yoga. This is the prenatal yoga sequence Meghan Markle is probably doing. I read recently that she's waking up at like 4:30 in the morning to do prenatal yoga every day, and I thought there's so many requests out there from all of you in the community who would like a prenatal class that's short and simple that you can do first thing in the morning. And I love that. And I also think that in my mind anyway, you don't necessarily need anything too powerful and strong, but something that just sets you up for a good, productive, feel-good sort of day. So this sequence is inspired by Meghan Markle and what we assume she's probably doing. So I'm going to be using 2 blocks. If you have blocks, have them nearby. If you don't have blocks, you can actually use anything that can stand in as this. Honestly, a couple sturdy books, or even if you have pillows, you can just stack them up. That's not a problem. So to begin, we're going to start in child's pose. And as we move through our little mini sequence today, I want you to really honor where your body is. So regardless of where you are in the process, remember that each day can feel totally different. So if today feels really sluggish and you just are not feeling your best, don't worry about it. Do what you can. We're going to modify as we go and just really take it easy. So this isn't about doing, pushing yourself or doing anything to the absolute best. We're just trying to start off the day in a healthy way. All right. So child's pose. Make sure you take your feet nice and wide so you can accommodate baby and go ahead and take your forehead down. Now, depending on how pregnant you are, this may be too close to the ground. So if you need to prop yourself up, you can always just come up to the forearms and just focus on lengthening the back a little bit. Focus on your posture here. Focus on reaching the chest forward. So you still get that low back release, and you're also adding a little bit of a strength component, like a gentle strength, by needing to sort of flex the lower back a bit. You can also if you're super equipped with many props, you can also stick a bolster underneath you, under the chest, so you're elevated completely off the ground, but also relaxed. So regardless of where you are, just take a few breaths here. And feel the back expand as you breathe in. Take one more inhale. Then gradually come up to your hands and knees. We're just going to take a few rounds of cat-cow. So line the knees up under the hips, press into the floor through the hands, and really taking your time, move with your breath, dropping the head, pressing the hips forward, rounding the back. Inhale, bring the chest through, drop the belly. Just move really slowly. This is actually also really great, gentle core strengthening. Great for the core, safe for pregnancy, and also really, really good for the pelvic floor, which I know is something that's in the back of your mind. So just doing this really mindfully, really slowly is something that you can do whenever. Feels great first thing out of bed too. Take a couple more each direction, not stretching too much so that you feel uncomfortable. One more each way. Pause in the center. Something a little different that should also feel really nice. I want you just to flex sideways, sort of moving the shoulder towards the hip. And switch. Look over the right shoulder. And switch. Just do a few more. Just feeling a gentle side body lengthening. Take one more each way. One more to the left. One more to the right. Good. Go ahead and come back to neutral. Sit back on the heels just for a moment. Just reset the spine. And let's walk the hands forward. Find downward facing dog. If down dog is not happening, stay in child's pose. So again, realizing and being okay with each day feeling a little bit different. So this just might not be in the cards today, and that's all right. Let's go ahead and gently step the left foot forward. Help it along if you need to. Take the right knee down. So here we're going to set up our blocks so that we have some support. Take them the tall way, so whatever you're using, bring the floor up closer to you. So we're going to focus on sinking the hips down and just planting the hands onto the blocks so that we're not hunching forward and trying to come down to the floor, but we're focused on keeping the chest lifted and just letting the hips get nice and heavy. So I know it takes a little bit of mindfulness here, but try not to let the pelvis just sort of sag straight down. See if you can engage a little bit through your pelvic floor, drawing the lowest part of your core up just a tiny bit. So it doesn't feel like a ton of work, but it feels like you're being aware of that area of your body. You can keep the hands down. You can lean forward a little bit, but try to be aware of your posture. Keep lifting the chest. And your left knee should be a little bit open to the side so that you can accommodate baby in the front. Keep gently drawing up from the base of the pelvis up into the core, just a tiny bit. Feeling that right hip flexor lengthen out. Take one more breath in. Exhale. Go ahead and sit back a bit. Give the hip a rest. If you want, you can take your blocks down just a little bit lower to like the next level down. If you want to keep them high, that's fine too. But we're going to come down to the forearms now. So now you can sort of let the chest drop. And we're going to continue to work the core in a subtle way and add just a tiny bit of strength. So tucking the back toes underneath. See if you can squeeze the thigh away from the mat. We're not going to hold for very long. And again, if this is just too much today, take your knee down. Honor where you are. Breathe. Take one more breath in. Exhale, drop the right knee down. Plant the hands on your blocks and just sweep the left leg back. It's okay if it's a little awkward. Sit back on the heels. Maybe you stay here and you just let yourself reset, or you can come back to down dog because we're going to eventually switch sides. So however you want to get there, you can just step it forward if that's where you are today, or come back to down dog. Take a breath. And step the right foot forward. Help it along if you need to. Drop the left knee down. Blocks. So I didn't mention this on the other side, but I want you to be aware of the hip as you drop forward. So when you're pregnant, your body tends to get a lot more elastic, and it's really easy to overstretch, to go a few steps past where you should. So if you're here and you start to feel like, okay, I'm really sinking down here, just back off a little bit and bring a little bit more mindfulness to the strength element. So again, you're not just letting the pelvis sag forward and just sinking into your ligaments, sinking into your hips, but you're bringing a little bit of strength to that, just a tiny bit of mindfulness. So think of pressing into the heel, almost as if you were trying to slide this right heel back towards the back of your mat. And just draw up through the pelvic floor. Draw in the belly just a tiny bit. You can use your blocks to support you. Breathe. Exhale, and gently we'll start to lower down to the forearms. If you can also just stay put. So maybe you stay here. If you want to add that little bit of strength, tuck the back toes, squeeze the knee away from the mat. Take 2 more full breaths. Exhale. Drop the knee. Press into your blocks. Move them off to the side for now. You don't need them. And just sweep the right leg back. Sit back on the heels. Inhale. We're going to move through to pigeon. Let's start on the left side. So however you want to get there, you can come to tabletop and just sweep your left leg forward, or you can come with me to down dog. And when you're ready, bring the left knee forward. And again, don't worry about the awkwardness. If it's a little clumsy getting there, that's all right. Try to square the hips off as best you can. Sit up nice and tall. And then when you feel ready, maybe come down to the forearms. So here also be mindful of how your center feels, your back feels. So try not to let your belly and your chest just sag forward. Try to keep a little bit of integrity through the back by just gently pressing into the elbows. So you feel the back engage just a tiny bit. And otherwise, that left hip, we're trying to soften. And take 2 more breaths. And gradually press into the hands. Tuck the back toes. You can wiggle the right knee in and just step the left foot back. Eventually down dog, or just open the right hip for pigeon on the right from that tabletop position. When you're ready, pigeon to the right. Don't worry about making it super smooth. Slide the left leg back. Try to square the hips. Sit up nice and tall. Make sure you're situated, you feel comfortable. This is sustainable enough. And then exhale, come down to the forearms. And same thing, we're not making this a very strong pose, but we're still keeping a mindfulness about how we feel in it. So we're not just dumping in. We want to press into the elbows just a bit. And just very gently draw in really subtly through the center. Again, through the base of the pelvic floor. Drawing in just a tiny bit. But keeping the right hip soft. Take a few more breaths. Take 2 more inhales where you are. And gradually walk the hands in. So lean forward into the palms, tuck the back toes, slide the knee in a little bit, just so you can have more space to move the right foot back. So we're gonna come to a squat, so just tuck the toes under, walk the feet so that they're under the hips. You can bring the elbows to the thighs, turn the toes out slightly. Make sure you're wide enough so that you can accommodate hips and belly as you come down. So the hips get nice and heavy. So option, if that feels comfortable, do that. If that does not feel comfortable, take one of your blocks and place it underneath you. It can be low or high, so that once you come down, you have something to sort of support you in this shape. And you can just sit right here. And this feels wonderful. So either way, you're still getting that lift in the chest. The hips are relaxed and open. And you don't have to use as much strength to maintain this shape if you're on your block. Keep drawing in and up. Take a couple more breaths where you are. Exhale, come out of your squat. Lean forward into the legs to get yourself up. And we're gonna have a seat on your block if that feels okay. If you're using pillows, you can also just prop your hips up on pillows. But I'm gonna bring my block to the lowest point and sit. And just let the legs fold in front of you. So this just feels better to have the hips elevated a little bit when you're sitting down. It just does. So take whatever you have, elevate the hips a bit, let the legs relax, and let the eyes close. So we're just gonna take a few moments here. You can let the hands rest on the thigh, you can wrap them around your belly. Whatever feels natural, whatever feels good. And just take a few deep breaths. And go ahead and set an intention for the rest of your day. It can be something super small. Just one little promise to yourself. And this can be anything that you need. Take a few more breaths here just to ground your energy. Let the breath come down. On your next breath in, go ahead and reach the arms all the way up overhead. Gently press the hands together and exhale them right down to the heart center, sealing in your practice. Let the eyes blink open. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for class today. Great job showing up, getting on your mat, doing something good for yourself. If you liked this, I have lots of prenatal friendly, pregnancy friendly classes inside the Bad Yogi studio. There's actually a playlist of ones that say like, hey, this is okay for you. So I'm gonna link to that in the description below. So those are more full length classes that you can do regularly. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for class today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you right back here next time.